So, this introduction, this is what happens when I try to paint and I'm not in the right headspace. It turns out to be very rough and just not the move. I struggled initially painting this because I just was trying to rush it and not take my time. And it turned out to be a disaster. So this was back in March of 2022, and I just ended up redoing it. And this is the progress now. So I started with just like an underpainting of burnt sienna, burnt umber, and I just started slowly going in and, building up this underpainting. I feel like if I don't have a good underpainting for all my paintings, I get confused and I don't know what the heck is going on. Like, I don't know what I'm looking at. So I feel like my underpainting is like the skeleton of a painting. Like, I need to see what is going on, like the structures and like the tones and all that stuff, and figure out where everything is placed as far as values go. So I really took my time on this little section. I just studied my reference photo and placed the tonal values in the parts where it was the most darkest, and just trying to focus on building things up before I even get colors involved. And I think that's extremely important for me in the way I paint, especially for like really realistic paintings. But if I'm like trying to do something like abstract or more loosely, then I probably won't spend too much time on the under layer. But it's very helpful for me, so my brain doesn't get confused, so I can see what's happening. And it helps to build things up gradually with layers anyway. Just like very thin layers of oil paint, and not too just very loose, very not good. It's not the finalized like painting, so you can just play around with it and get loose with it. Just try to understand and build up what you're studying. And this was just so fun for me. I just loved it. I tried to slow down, obviously. This is more of a longer video, but I really think I got the point across when I show you guys the steps and how to paint a portrait, or how I paint a portrait. There's millions of different ways to paint a portrait, but this is how I like to do it. And then the next steps, you'll see me start to add in a little bit of color. And for this part, I didn't use too much colors. I just kind of grabbed the colors that I felt were most predominant in the reference photo, and I just started, diluting my paints a little bit with paint thinner, and just started slowly, meticulously placing color very thinly where I best saw fit. So I'm just slowly going in and just very meticulously placing very light tones down, and I'm using a very light hand as well, and I'm using, you can't see this in the video, but I'm using like different brushes as well. I'm like switching brushes a lot during this process. And one thing I would like to critique myself on during this process is the fact that I used my Galca gel a little bit too early during this point, and then that kind of made my oil paint get very gummy, very sticky. And the gummy, sticky paint is very dust attractive. So it's some artists don't have a problem with it, but it actually really bothered me for this one, because I'm like, I can literally see like the dust in the painting, but it's fine. I don't know if I'm gonna go over it with like a layer of resin, like glittery resin, but I don't want to ruin it, so I'm just gonna leave it. But yeah, I don't really know how to avoid dust in a painting. Like, I guess it just happens, right? But that was like the thing about it, and it's just really fun and really relaxing to see the progress just kind of build itself up, and slowly, because when you have a video of someone painting and it's sped up so much, like, you don't really get to see like the whole process of like everything that goes on. It just doesn't do it justice. Like, there's so many like little nuances that happen. a different brush here, or it's like a different kind of stippling technique that I'm using, and there's a lot involved in everything that I do. So it's probably why I can only get like one painting out per year, because it's just like, oh my god. Because I really try to take my time with it, and I take myself very seriously when I'm doing these paintings, because I see the result that I want, and I want to achieve that to the best of my ability, and I just go for it. So ever since I was younger, I would just paint and just paint and just paint, and I would just study my reference photo and like, oh, that's a cool painting, like or picture, and I want to paint that. So, and you can see like her hair in the distance, you can see like the curly patterns and the textures, and yeah, that's just like so fun. And that's, people wonder like, why do you paint, hyperrealism? And it's just because it's fun, like any other, type of art form, art style. You paint what you want to, and that's kind of like my thing, like realism. And I might be navigating to abstraction type of art soon, just for fun experimentation, just to figure out, and expand my horizons as far as painting goes, because my painting journey is always going to continue to expand and, just do different things. So, I just, as far as like me painting, like, I don't know, like I can do all kinds of different paintings, but portraits are just fun, they're just fun. You can see my palette in the background is extremely messy at this point, and I'm just still kind of like picking certain colors out of my oil painting bin, and I'm just going in and just plotting them down on the palette and just kind of like picking and choosing. I'm not really mixing any pre-mixed colors at this point. It's just kind of like figuring out where I want things for now, and I'm really starting to build it up at this point. I really struggled a lot on the lip area and like that mouth area. I think I painted that area maybe like 5 times over. Like that's the part you don't see, because I just like turn the camera off and I'm like, oh my god, I need to fix this. And I get like really close to my paintings at that point, so I don't even bother turning the camera on when I'm like trying to fix these horrible like proportions that I'm doing. But I struggle with the lip here, and you can see that here, and that's the thing about it. It's like you're never gonna make a painting perfect like right away. Like it takes a couple layers. Like you're gonna feel frustrated, you're gonna feel like, wow, this looks like shit, but it's okay, because that's a part of the progress, and you just kind of keep working through it and just keep working at it until you get it to a point where you actually really like it and you appreciate it. And that's the fun part about it, to see the beginning, the middle, and then the end. And that's just the cool part about painting. Like they always say, trust the process. So now you guys can see me start to mix in some of the actual skin tones that I'm going to be using for her actual like face and all that stuff. I'm just kind of looking at my iPad, like kind of comparing back and forth, like this looks like the color that should go on the cheek area, and just kind of, and I kind of had to practice on how to do that a lot throughout my painting journey, like how to specifically look for colors and mix those colors accordingly. But I feel like the more colors that I make, I have a little bit more variety in my palette to just kind of play with them and kind of blend them on my wood panel as I paint along. But the more colors that I have, I can kind of experiment with different things, and just a little bit of a wide range of different hues and stuff to help me, figure out where everything goes. And then, as you guys could see, I started going in with my pre-mixed colors, and I started doing the second layer, or as I would say, this is probably the third layer, but this is the part where I really start to finalize the painting, and I start getting it to a place where this is actually going to be what it looks like. And even that's not the case, because even after I did all this, I still changed it. It still wasn't proportionately how I wanted it to look. And you'll see that as the video goes on. But this is the part where I start using more solid colors, and I start to, really establish what her actual skin tone will be. And I just start, I'm still taking my time on every single part of this, but this is where it starts to finally get finalized, and it starts to, you know, pull together, and you can actually see what the heck is going on, and her skin actually looks like skin, and you know, you feel like you can touch her face. It's literally coming off the page at this point, and I'm just like, wow. Younger me would have been like enamored, like, oh my God, like this is actually coming off the page. And it's still pretty cool to, you know, to see the process, especially from where I started. It's just like very, very humbling experience to see how far you've come and know that younger you will just be so impressed and so amazed. So I'm just delicately going in to certain areas, and I'm just painting along, and I'm filling in. I'm always looking back at my reference photo and just making sure that things make sense, because that's what happened. I was just getting so like caught up, and I had to like take a step back because I guess the sketch that I had was not accurate to what the proportions actually were. So you've got this highlight on the cheek that's way too high. I had to bring that down. We've got the lip that's kind of like sagging a little bit, but it looks like that, but it doesn't. It's just a little bit off, and there's just something off. There was something off, and I fixed that stuff, and it's like a matter of like coming and looking at it, stepping away, taking your time, you know, and just giving your mind a break from it all. You know, I don't know what I'm saying, you guys. I just feel like every day that I paint something, every new painting that I do, I'm learning something different in the process. I'm learning something new all the time, learning how to get better with my techniques. And in this painting in particular, there was a lot of like, because the reference photo was extremely grainy, I could see colors in the painting that weren't there if you like step back from it. So, and I think that's what took this painting to the next level, like me getting in there with more vibrant colors, or the more unusual, unnatural skin tones like yellows and greens and blues, and that's what really actually took this painting to the next level in my opinion. So I'm actually really excited about that. You can just see me like taking my time on certain areas. You know, the best way that I paint is using different brush layer techniques, you know, and stippling. That's a huge part of my portraits. And different brushes, like you have a dry brush that has no pigment on it at all, and then you have a brush that actually has your pigments on it. So it's just like this back and forth kind of thing, because you don't want to make a mess or make mud with it. So yeah, that's why I also use the stippling effect as well. And my painting techniques and my skills are, you know, they're not for everybody, and you can use whatever painting techniques and stuff that you want to use, whatever makes you get the job done. All right, so now you guys see me going in to mix some colors for the hair, and I love this part. This part is so fun. This is the part that I've been waiting for, honestly, to paint her beautiful, beautiful hair. I'm going in with, you know, my cadmium reds, my cadmium oranges, and my ochres, and a little bit of, you know, my blacks and my whites, but you can just see how rich those colors are, and they're just like perfect popping off the page, and I just love how these colors looked. And then you can see me going in, reapplying my Galkit gel to get started. And I'm just going in with like the colors that I see in the portrait. And I do believe that this kind of took me some getting used to, because her hair was red, but it was also orange at the same time. So it's like, where do I find that balance between the two? And I think adding the background helped me establish the correct color values for this. And I think I did do this in like one sitting. I did one layer and then I let it dry a little bit. Because it was so diluted, I was able to go back over it with another set of fresh colors and really get it done and taken care of. And then you start seeing me go over the background and stuff, and it's just great. I just love it. That's such a beautiful blue color. And I'm pretty sure that orange and blue are complementary colors, so they looked very, very good in this portrait, and they just harmonized very well together. In the reference photo you can see some of that oranges kind of blue environment, but I kind of used my own little abstract kind of artistic style to make it look a little bit different. And it's kind of weird because it looks super, super orange, and it doesn't actually look that way in the finished result, which you guys will see at the end. It's not actually like stark orange like that. It's actually more on the red side, which is what I was going for. I use this medium brush type pattern to go back over certain areas, and I'm like pushing the paint in and leaving those brush strokes in the background to create this texture, and it's beautiful. I love it, the way it turned out. And it looks very icy, very cold type of environment, but she's got this warm head of hair, and it's like the contrast between the two is actually what really brings the painting out, I think. And as I'm looking back at this painting now, I realize that you don't have to paint every single hair that you see or every clump of volume that her hair encompasses. Adding some sort of abstraction or, painterly strokes with your brushes really helps to create that illusion of depth and detail and realism that you are wanting to achieve. So, and then you take it and then you step back and it kind of let your eyes kind of fill in the rest of it, and that's kind of how it just kind of comes together. And I have to kind of remember that. Everyone's art journey is going to be unique to them, and there's no need to compare yourself. Somebody's beginning is going to be different from somebody's end, and believe in yourself, know that you're good enough, have some self-confidence, work on your skills, and always strive to be better, and you will improve, and you will see the improvements in everything that you do. And never stop painting, and just keep on going. I can't wait to work on the next painting. I hopefully the next painting won't take 5 years for me to upload, but it is what it is. But I'm excited to, start painting again and just really try to have fun with it and not take it so seriously, even though I'll take the artwork seriously, but uploading and putting it on YouTube, it's gonna happen whenever it's gonna happen. This is just a hobby, a therapy for me. So here's the before and after of her face and all the changes that I made. Pushing the cheek forward and lifting the eyebrow up a bit because her face looked extremely masculine, and I was like, let me feminize this face a little bit and bring down the hairline and all that stuff. And I was just like, now she looks perfect. And I added a tattoo, because why the hell not, right?